Good evening. My name is Moya Ajepe, and I am presenting my final dashboard, my final Tableau dashboard. I apologize that the webcam is not recording for some reason, but hopefully you can see my screen very well. So a little bit about myself. I've been taking this class for the past 7 weeks, and I've really enjoyed learning more about SQL as well as Tableau, and I currently work as a business analyst in the technology field. So my data source is from the World Bank, and it shows developmental KPIs from several countries around the world from 2000 to 2010. And what I decided to do was I really let the data kind of tell me the story. So I took this data, I made a bunch of pivot tables to kind of understand what I was looking at. I did some groupings, and I uploaded it into Tableau to kind of lead me towards a really good topic to capture for my dashboard. And so what I finally decided to do was my topic is actually the emergence of technology hubs in Scandinavia. And so I found that the Scandinavian countries for the past decade, from when this data was captured, have really been excelling in things like transit, internet, technology, low mortality rate, and things like that. And those are all really key things that make it an emerging technology hub. So this data really helped me to kind of understand what was going on around the world, but also gave me insight into countries that performed exceptionally well in several of these KPIs. And that led me to choosing my topic, which is analyzing emerging technology hubs in Scandinavia. So now I will share my Tableau dashboard. So this is my final Tableau dashboard. It's comprised of a bunch of different kind of mini high-level insights that would really be helpful for investors that are looking to whether start a company in one of these countries or excuse me, or invest in a company that is in one of these countries. And so outside of looking for obviously the financials from that company, getting a pitch from the founders of that company, another really good data point for potential venture capitalists to really understand is to understand the layout of this country, the countries that they're looking to invest in companies that work there, or the countries that they're looking to start companies in. And it just so happened that I was able to analyze a specific region because all of these countries, so these 5 countries, Iceland, Denmark, the Netherlands, Norway, and Sweden, within this region called Scandinavia, really performed very well. And so the first thing that I thought was important to capture is to understand the average number of internet users. And these 5 countries actually had the highest average number of internet users. And so you can see when you hover over the average number. So Iceland has the highest with 80 average internet users per 100 people. But I thought that it would be very insightful for people to actually be able to understand different regions or different countries. And so what I did was I included the filters here and made it a drop-down menu. So you can see like, wow, Iceland performs really well. But a country like Afghanistan, in comparison to all of these countries, performs so poorly. So you can see how the addition of Afghanistan, who only has 1 person per 100 people with internet access, turned all of these countries to that dark blue, which indicates a higher number of average internet users, as shown by this color-coded legend here. And so when I remove Afghanistan, you can see how these countries compare to one another. So another thing that's really important for companies that are, whether it's looking to start up, so receive that venture capital, or venture capitalists that are looking to invest in companies in this region, is to understand what the age of the population looks like. So you don't want to start a company necessarily that doesn't provide local value. Just outside research, these are some of the countries that really prioritize companies that are bringing local content or local value to the people. And so you don't want to go in and invest in a company or start a company where the population is either way too young or way too old to potentially participate in the company and really reap the benefits of having a company start or having that influx of venture capital in a company. And so you can see that the Netherlands does have the oldest, the highest number of their population that is between this working age, so 15 to 64. Generally, the retirement age is set around 65. But you can see all of these countries score really highly. And so if I go back to my filter, or you can filter it here, but this filter applies to throughout all the sheets that use the data source. If I add Afghanistan, you can see just how drastically it changed. So half of their population is between 15 to 64 years, while here in Iceland, their population is 66, 67% that's within working age. And this allows you to add these countries and compare and contrast. So that's why I think having that filter is very helpful. Another thing that's important when starting to think about becoming a technology hub and emulating the Silicon Valley in the Scandinavian regions is the importance of railways, so transportation. Having these railways, reduces the need for cars, reduces those emissions, reduces pollution, and really helps to maintain, the quality of life. And so there's been a lot of investment in the infrastructure, specifically in the Netherlands, to ensure that there is a plethora of railways available. And so this is another thing that really draws people to, the Silicon Valleys and stuff like that. Not only the jobs and the connections, but also the fact that there's a lot of public transportation, and that's something that's really important to look for. You can see that the Netherlands is really high, amongst the highest of all the countries, actually. Norway is really low. And so when you think of, prioritizing investment in which country first, the Netherlands should definitely, for this reason, should definitely be at the top of priority list. And then I also included health spending. So the spending of healthcare is typically a signifier of how advanced and developed a country is. And so, again, Norway has a really high percent of their GDP that they spend on healthcare, but all of these countries do spend pretty well in comparison to other countries. And so what I did was I put that together in an interactive dashboard. So you can add the countries like I did and see how it changes based on different countries. And then I also included a really cool Wikipedia link that actually talked about technological development in the Scandinavian countries. And so you really get to understand the likes of Spotify and the different companies that have come out of these Nordic countries that are doing really well and have received that venture capital. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I hope it was helpful and informative. Thank you.